Welcome to LES, Learn English Through Story. I'm Harry, your host for today's adventure. Picture this, you're walking through the streets of London and suddenly you see crowds of people waving flags. A golden carriage passes by with a real queen inside. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Well, get ready everyone, because this story will take you on an exciting journey about the real kings and queens who still rule in Europe today. Yes, you heard that right. Monarchies still exist in our modern world. Today, my friend Tom will be your storyteller, taking you through the fascinating world of European royalty. From ancient castles to modern palaces, from crowns worth millions to everyday royal duties, Tom will show you how these royal families live and work in the 21st century. So sit back, relax, and let Tom transport you into this amazing world of European monarchies.
Chapter 1: The Surprising Truth About Modern Europe. Hello there, story lovers. Tom here, and I have an incredible tale to share with you today. Let me start with a question that might surprise you. How many kings and queens do you think live in Europe right now? 1, 2, maybe 3? The answer will shock you. Today, in 2025, there are 12 monarchies in Europe. That's 12 countries where kings, queens, princes, and princesses still hold real power or important positions. From the cold mountains of Norway to the sunny beaches of Spain, royal families continue their ancient traditions in our modern world. Let me tell you about Maria, a young tourist from Brazil. Last summer, she planned a trip across Europe. She expected to see old castles and learn about history in museums. But Maria got the surprise of her life when she discovered that she could actually meet real royalty. In Sweden, she watched King Carl, ex-wife Gustav, open a new hospital. In Belgium, she saw King Philippe give a speech on television. In the Netherlands, she even got to wave at Queen Maxima during a public celebration. Maria's journey made her realize something amazing. These aren't just people playing dress-up or actors in a movie. These are real monarchs with real responsibilities, living in a world of smartphones, social media, and modern democracy. How do they balance thousand-year-old traditions with 21st century life? That's exactly what we're going to discover together. The story of European monarchies today is not just about crowns and palaces. It's about adaptation, service, and finding your place in a changing world. So buckle up, because we're about to explore a world where ancient traditions meet modern reality in the most fascinating ways. Chapter 2: The Northern Crown Jewels. Our royal journey begins in the frozen north, where three kingdoms shine like jewels against the Arctic sky. Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. These Scandinavian countries prove that monarchy can work perfectly with modern democracy. Let me introduce you to King Harald V of Norway, who is now 88 years old. This remarkable man has been king since 1991, but his story is unlike any fairy tale you've ever heard. Harald grew up during World War II when his family had to escape to London because Nazi Germany invaded Norway. Can you imagine a future king living as a refugee, learning English in British schools while his homeland suffered under occupation? When Harold returned to Norway after the war, he made a decision that shocked the royal world. He fell in love with Sonia, a common girl who worked in a clothing store. The royal family said no to their marriage, but Harold was determined. He told his father, King Olav, "If I cannot marry Sonia, I will never marry anyone." He waited 9 long years until his father finally agreed. Today, Queen Sonia is one of the most beloved royals in Europe. Next door in Sweden, we find King Karl VI Gustav, who became king in 1973 when he was only 27 years old. Sweden changed its laws to allow women to inherit the throne, making his daughter Victoria the first female heir in Swedish history. Crown Princess Victoria will become Sweden's first queen regnant in over 300 years. But here's what makes these northern monarchies special. They cost their countries very little money, and their kings and queens work like regular citizens. King Carl Gustaf loves cars and motorcycles. He even has a driver's license and enjoys racing. Queen Sylvia of Sweden was once an Olympic hostess and speaks 5 languages fluently. In Denmark, Queen Margrethe II ruled for 52 years until she surprised everyone by abdicating in January 2024. Her son, now King Frederik Licentius, is married to an Australian woman who became Crown Princess Mary. These royal families show us that love knows no borders, and that modern monarchs must be ready to embrace change while honoring tradition. Chapter 3: The Island Kingdom's Ancient Crown. Now let's cross the North Sea to the most famous monarchy in the world, the United Kingdom. Here the story becomes even more complex and fascinating because we're talking about not just one country, but 4 nations united under one crown: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The British monarchy has survived civil wars, world wars, economic crashes, and social revolutions. How? By constantly adapting to the times while maintaining the mystery and dignity that makes them special. Let me tell you about a day in the life of King Charles III, who became king in September 2022 after his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, passed away. Charles waited 70 years to become king, longer than anyone in British history. Every morning, he wakes up in one of several palaces and receives red boxes filled with government documents. Yes, the British monarch still reads and signs important papers every single day. But Charles is not just signing papers. He meets with prime ministers, foreign ambassadors, and charity leaders. He travels across the UK opening hospitals, schools, and community centers. He gives honors to citizens who have done extraordinary things for their communities. Last year alone, he attended over 400 official events. The British royal family also includes Prince William and Princess Catherine, who represent the future of the monarchy. William will one day be king, but right now he focuses on mental health awareness, environmental protection, and homelessness. Catherine, a former art history student who grew up in a middle-class family, has become one of the most photographed and admired women in the world. Here's something that might surprise you. The British monarchy brings in more money than it costs. Tourism related to royal palaces, ceremonies, and events generates billions of pounds every year. Millions of people from around the world visit London just to see Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, and maybe catch a glimpse of the royal family. The British royal family also leads the Commonwealth, a group of 54 countries that were once part of the British Empire. From Canada to Australia, from Jamaica to Singapore, King Charles III is still the head of state for 15 of these nations. This makes the British monarchy truly global, connecting cultures and countries across every continent. Chapter 4: The Heart of European Nobility. Let's travel south to the heart of Europe, where some of the oldest and most interesting monarchies continue to thrive. Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg might be small countries, but their royal families play huge roles in European politics and culture The Netherlands gives us one of the most modern and down-to-earth royal families in the world. King Willem-Alexander became king in 2013 when his mother, Queen Beatrix, abdicated after 33 years on the throne. But here's what makes Willem-Alexander special. He used to work as a pilot for KLM, the Dutch airline. Can you imagine sitting on a plane and discovering that your pilot is actually a prince? Queen Maxima, Willem Alexander's wife, comes from Argentina and represents the international spirit of modern European royalty. She speaks Dutch, Spanish, and English fluently and focuses on financial inclusion, helping poor people access banking services worldwide. The Dutch royal family rides bicycles, sends their children to regular schools, and lives remarkably normal lives while still performing their royal duties. Belgium has a unique challenge. It's a country with 3 official languages and distinct cultural regions. King Philippe must speak French, Dutch, and German, and he must represent both the French-speaking Walloons and the Dutch-speaking Flemish people. His wife, Queen Mathilde, was a speech therapist before marriage and now focuses on poverty, education, and mental health issues. In tiny Luxembourg, Grand Duke Henri rules over one of the richest countries in the world. Luxembourg is smaller than most cities, but it's home to major European Union institutions and hundreds of international banks. The Grand Duke must balance his role as a traditional monarch with the reality that his country is one of the most modern and international places on Earth. These Benelux monarchies, Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg, show us how royal families can help unite diverse populations and maintain national identity in an increasingly globalized world. They prove that you don't need to rule a large empire to make a significant impact. Chapter 5: Mediterranean Royalty and Mountain Kingdoms. Our journey now takes us to the sunny Mediterranean, where Spanish royalty has experienced one of the most dramatic transformations in modern European history. The story of Spain's monarchy is like a Hollywood movie filled with exile, dictatorship, restoration, and redemption. King Felipe VI of Spain represents the new generation of European monarchs. His father, King Juan Carlos, helped restore democracy to Spain after the dictatorship of Francisco Franco ended in 1975. For nearly 40 years, Juan Carlos was one of the most respected kings in Europe. But then scandals emerged about his private life and finances, forcing him to abdicate in 2014 and later leave Spain entirely. Felipe had to rebuild the reputation of the Spanish monarchy from scratch. He married Letizia, a former television news reporter who came from a middle-class family. Together, they represent a fresh start for Spanish royalty. Queen Letizia speaks multiple languages and focuses on nutrition, rare diseases, and social cooperation. Their daughters, Princess Leona and Infanta Sofia, attend regular schools and are being prepared for life in the modern world. Spain's monarchy faces unique challenges. The country includes regions like Catalonia and the Basque Country, where many people want independence. King Felipe must help hold the nation together while respecting regional differences and democratic principles. Let's climb up to the tiny mountain kingdom of Andorra, nestled between Spain and France. This microstate has one of the world's most unusual systems. It has 2 heads of state, the President of France and the Bishop of Urgel in Spain serve as co-princes of Andorra. Imagine explaining to visitors that your country is ruled by a French politician and a Spanish religious leader who live in different countries. Monaco, the glamorous principality on the French Riviera, continues to capture the world's imagination. Prince Albert II, son of the legendary Princess Grace, formerly American actress Grace Kelly, rules over the second smallest country in the world. Monaco is famous for its casinos, Formula One racing, and as a tax haven for the world's wealthiest people. Princess Charlene, Albert's wife from South Africa, was an Olympic swimmer before joining one of the world's most glamorous royal families. Chapter 6: The Surviving Island Monarchies. Now let's explore some of Europe's most unique and isolated monarchies, the islands where royal traditions have survived in fascinating ways. These small nations prove that monarchy can adapt to any environment, from Mediterranean rocks to North Atlantic islands. Malta might surprise you. This small island nation in the Mediterranean was once ruled by the Knights of Malta, a religious military order that still exists today. The Sovereign Military Order of Malta is technically one of the smallest sovereign entities in the world, with its own passports, stamps, and diplomatic relations. The Grand Master of the Order holds a rank equivalent to a head of state, even though the order now focuses on humanitarian work rather than military activity. Cyprus presents a complex situation. The northern part of the island, recognized only by Turkey, has its own president, but the southern part, the Republic of Cyprus, is a presidential democracy that's part of the European Union. However, Cyprus maintains strong cultural connections to royal traditions through its ties to Greece and the Eastern Orthodox Church. Iceland, though now a republic, has a fascinating royal history. For centuries, it was ruled by Denmark, and many Icelanders still feel emotional connections to Danish royalty. When Iceland gained independence in 1944, they chose to become a republic, but the transition was peaceful and respectful. The most interesting island monarchy isn't technically in Europe, but has strong European connections: the British Crown dependencies. The Isle of Man, Jersey, and Guernsey are not part of the United Kingdom, but they owe allegiance to the British Crown. They have their own governments, their own money, and even their own languages. The Isle of Man still holds an annual ceremony called Tynwald Day, where laws are read aloud in both English and Manx Gaelic on a 1,000-year-old hill. These island monarchies and former monarchies show us how geography shapes royal traditions. Isolation can preserve ancient customs, but it can also force rapid adaptation when the outside world changes. Islands must be creative, flexible, and resourceful, qualities that serve both monarchs and citizens well in the modern world. Chapter 7: The Eastern European Royal Legacy. Eastern Europe tells a different story, one of lost crowns, exile, and dreams of restoration. This region shows us what happens when monarchies disappear and whether they can ever truly return. The most dramatic story belongs to Romania. King Michael I was forced to abdicate by communist forces in 1947. He spent decades in exile working as a pilot and businessman while dreaming of returning to his homeland. When communism fell in 1989, some Romanians hoped their king would return. Michael did visit Romania many times and remained popular with certain groups, but the country chose to remain a republic. When King Michael died in 2017, millions of Romanians mourned him as the king they never got back. Bulgaria has a similar but even more unusual story. King Simeon II was dethroned as a child in 1946. He grew up in exile in Spain, became a businessman, and seemed destined to remain a king without a kingdom. But then something extraordinary happened. In 2001, he returned to Bulgaria not as king, but as a politician. He became prime minister and served for 4 years. Imagine that. A former king becoming an elected politician in his own former kingdom. Russia's royal story is the most tragic of all. The last Tsar, Nicholas II, and his entire family were murdered by revolutionaries in 1918. Today, there are people who claim to be the rightful heirs to the Russian throne, but Russia, under President Putin, shows no interest in restoring monarchy. The Russian Orthodox Church has made the murdered royal family into saints, but political restoration seems impossible. Serbia, Montenegro, and other Balkan nations also have royal pretenders, people who would be kings and queens if monarchies were restored. Some of these individuals have returned to their countries and participate in ceremonial events, but none have regained real power. The most successful restoration story belongs to Spain, which we discussed earlier. Spain proves that monarchies can return after republican periods, but only under very specific circumstances and with strong popular support. These Eastern European stories remind us that monarchy is not inevitable. Political systems can change, and crowns can be lost forever. They also show us the power of tradition and memory. Even after decades of exile, some people still remember and honor their former royal families. Chapter 8: The Future of European Royalty. As we reach the end of our royal journey, let's look ahead and ask the big question: what does the future hold for European monarchies? The challenges are real and significant. Young people across Europe are less interested in tradition and more focused on equality and democracy. Social media means that royal families live under constant scrutiny. Every mistake, every expensive purchase, every family argument becomes public news within hours. Financial pressure is another major challenge. Even the wealthiest countries question whether they should spend public money on royal families when there are hospitals to build and schools to fund. The COVID-19 pandemic made this issue even more urgent as governments faced budget crises. But European monarchies are adapting in remarkable ways. They're becoming more transparent about their finances, more accessible to ordinary citizens, and more focused on serving their countries rather than just representing them. Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden represents this new generation perfectly. She has dyslexia, a learning difficulty that she speaks about openly to help other people with similar challenges. She married her personal trainer, a man from a working-class family. She serves in the military, speaks multiple languages, and focuses on sustainable development and global health issues. Prince William of the United Kingdom is another example of modern royalty. He worked as an air ambulance pilot, saving lives in emergency situations. He and Princess Catherine raised their children to understand both their royal responsibilities and the importance of normal experiences, like going to school and playing with friends. The monarchies that will survive are those that prove their value to modern society. They must show that they contribute more than they cost, that they unite rather than divide their nations, and that they represent the best values of their countries. Technology is also changing how royal families connect with people. Through social media, documentaries, and live streaming, citizens can feel closer to their monarchs than ever before. This creates opportunities for connection, but also risks for privacy and dignity. Climate change, economic uncertainty, and social inequality are the great challenges of our time. European monarchies that address these issues seriously, that use their platforms to promote solutions, and that lead by example will earn the respect of future generations. The story of European monarchies is far from over. It's a story that continues to be written every day by kings and queens, princes and princesses who must balance ancient traditions with modern responsibilities. Whether they succeed or fail depends on their ability to prove that monarchy still has a meaningful role in the 21st century. As we've seen through our journey today, European royalty is not about fairy tales or fantasy. It's about real people trying to serve their countries while preserving traditions that connect us to our shared human history. The crowns may be ancient, but the challenges are thoroughly modern.
And there you have it, everyone. What an incredible journey through the palaces, kingdoms, and fascinating lives of Europe's modern monarchies. From Norwegian kings who escaped Nazi occupation to Spanish queens who were once television reporters, from Dutch monarchs who pilot airplanes to British royals who work as emergency helicopter pilots, these stories show us that real life is often more interesting than any fairy tale. Tom has taken us on an amazing adventure today, revealing how ancient traditions survive and adapt in our modern world. We've learned that monarchy isn't just about crowns and ceremonies, it's about service, adaptation, and finding ways to bring people together in an increasingly divided world. I hope this story has opened your eyes to a side of Europe you might never have considered. These royal families aren't just historical curiosities, they're active participants in shaping the future of their nations and the continent as a whole. Remember, language learning is just like these monarchies. It's about adapting, persevering, and finding new ways to connect with the world around you. Every word you learn, every story you understand, brings you closer to mastering English and opening new doors in your life. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the story. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss a new story. Have a wonderful day, take care, and see you next time